Okay, last class we wrote this simple app actually, and in the simple app we had two files. One was the HTML file and one was the Java file. One concept what you have to understand from this is when to use a HTML file and when to use a Java file. So when you want to do static displays, that is when you prefer to go for HTML content, HTML files, and the other one would be Java file. That is when we want dynamic displays. So see, our login.html was kept here, and the other servlet, whatever I wrote, was kept here. Which one is that? Login servlet. This was the idea. And I had used one tag in the last class, which was called form action. I will be studying this tag today in detail. Is equal to // cluster was the value given, and method is equal to get. This was the tag I used. So now you know what is this form action going to do. Form action is actually generating what? The URL that we know. So I'll be explaining what is that // and also what is method is equal to get today in today's class. See, that's a heavy subject, but let's see that what it is. So what happens here when you made the first request? We are trying to understand what is the // When you made the first request, this is how the flow goes. HTTP localhost 8090 simple app html/login.html. See the request. First request I'm showing in red ink. First request is going in red ink. It goes to the simple app HTML, and finally login.html would be displayed. How the file would be displayed? TCP/IP will continue. Understood? That's the process what happens here. So and you'll get back the response also. So once you get back the response, fine. Next you'll be entering the name and password, and you'll be submitting. See, one thing what you have to understand here is HTML does not need any mappings. Okay, but servlets need mapping, and URL pattern is mandatory for the execution of a servlet. If you want to execute a servlet, URL pattern is mandatory. That's what is happening now. See, as soon as we enter and type submit, okay, so now the browser is generating what? The URL. Understood? The browser generates the URL, because see, when you display this content, HTML content, now if you see the source, view source, in that you will be seeing what? Form action is equal to // cluster. It will be visible when you make this request. That HTML file has displayed now login.html. It will be visible here. I'll be showing you that again. So as soon as you submit this, the browser takes the value of what now? Action attribute. As soon as you press the submit button, the browser takes the value of the action attribute, which is actually at what? Client place. This is here. In fact, this particular tag form action is equal to // cluster would be here. Form action is equal to // it is here. So as soon as you press enter the values and say submit, so that URL would be generated. And along with that, see what has happened is we are given a name to this box called as NME, and we are given a name to this input box as PWD. These values are also getting carried to what? To the server. So this will go, that is okay. These values will go, that's not a problem for us. But see how the control moves now. So when you made the first request, the control was there in the HTML folder. The first request you made and the response was given, the control was there in the HTML folder. Now the thing is, so from the HTML folder, now the control has to go to what? WebINF, because in WebINF only you got what? Web.xml, and the mapping has to happen there, because the servlet cannot execute without URL. So that is what we are doing, // the request has come now. So it will go to HTML folder. Where is the control now? See, in blue ink you can see. Okay, first step, the control is handed over from the server to the container. Once the control is handed to the container will go to what now? HTML folder. From HTML folder, actually you want to go to what? WebINF. That is your target. So instead of going to to go to WebINF, what we are doing is we are saying //. As soon as you say // the control comes outside that directory. Which one? HTML directory. It goes to the parent directory. From the parent, which is the parent directory now? Simple app. From there, it knows very clearly how to move to WebINF. This is how the control will move now. See this. 1. Server to container. 2. HTML folder. From next step 3, it is going to what? Simple app. Now 4, where it comes to? From simple app, it knows how to come to WebINF. From WebINF, it is very clear for the server how to go. What it will do? From WebINF, it comes to web.xml, that is 5, and 6, it will go to classes. Once the URL is identified here, that is for cluster, the URL will be identified. The URL would be what? The name, and finally the Java class. So that would be identified, and the classes will be, object of this class would be created, executes, and then finally the response will be given to the client. This is the actual flow of how when you wrote your web application, which is happening. So like this, navigation will keep happening from HTML to servlet, from one servlet to another servlet. Understood? So that I'll be showing you with all examples. So these are the concepts what you understand. You have to understand how the flow is happening here. Okay. So only after understanding this flow only you can develop bigger applications, because your application is going to have a lot of resources and a lot of files, and the resource, this is how the mapping, this is how the navigation will go on happening now. Okay, but just simple formula I'll tell you. If you want to move from HTML to servlet, use // in which one? From HTML files, if you want to go to servlet, use just // that will solve your purpose. Clear? So the idea is only this: from HTML folder, take it to parent directory. From here it knows how to go to web.inf. You don't have to worry. It will come to web.inf. From web.inf it knows how to go to web.xml, mapping, and then finally it will be identified and executed. Clear this? Clear this? So fine. So this is the flow of the second example which I showed you, simple app. Clear? Shall I clear this? So once this is done, fine. Okay, fine. Till now I have covered servlet for you. Now I'll start teaching you Eclipse. Leave servlet for the time being. Okay, first let's start learning what is Eclipse. See, Eclipse is an editor. According to what you learned till now, Eclipse is a editor. It is used for typing what? Your Java programs. But there is still more to learn in Eclipse. Why we use Eclipse is, it is also known as a IDE tool. It is also, we use Eclipse. This is the main reason why I use Eclipse. It is also an IDE tool. IDE tool means integrated development environment. Okay, there are a lot of advantages of Eclipse. Slowly we start learning one by one. Okay, and this is what I'll go on to explain you now. See, you have written your web projects now. See, you have written your web projects, and when you are writing your web projects, what do you do? I'll discuss some of the problems what you face, and then I'll talk about what is IDE. The fact is simple. I'm just trying to teach you how to integrate. This is the subject: integrating Eclipse with server. This is the subject. But why we do that, I'll be explaining you. Okay. See, the thing is, we'll be using, when you're coding your project, web project, you'll be using many tools. Like you'll be using server, then you'll be using your browser, then you would be using, you are using Eclipse. So when you are using so many softwares, when you are developing your application, you'll have to move around from one software to another software. Like you want to start the server, you have to go to server bin folder. Then you have to open your browser and make the request. Again, you want to make any changes, you have to come back in Eclipse and change your code. So like this, you'll be using many softwares. Now moving around these three means still more softwares you start using. Moving around your softwares like this is going to be time consuming. So we have to enhance our production. Means we can't lose time in coding is okay for us. We don't mind losing time in coding, but we don't want to lose time in using these tools now. So that's the reason what we do. We can integrate all these things into Eclipse. That is the main reason we call it as what? Integrated development environment. This is the main reason why we call it as integrated development environment. Okay, so what we'll do now is, that's what I'll be showing you how to integrate Eclipse with server, then you'll understand this. See, till now you have used, you have developed your web application. Till now you have developed your web application. I show you the drawback, means the little problems what you're facing while developing your web application. You'll develop your web application. After developing your web application, if you want to deploy, what do you do? Okay, if you want to deploy, you have developed your web application. So now you want to deploy it. So what do? You have to first go to C driver. In C drive, you have to check in Tomcat, you have to go to web apps and check whether that application is there or not. If it is there, first what you have to do? Delete it. After deleting, next what you do? You come here, say export var. See how you are wasting time. You have to work on so many screens. Save and then say finish. So it is done now. So once it is done, Next again you have to go to web apps and check whether it is there or not. Then you have to start the server. Once it is deployed, you have to start the server. So again you go to Tomcat bin and say startup.bat. Server is started now. Once server is started, then you'll make the request. How do you make it? http://localhost whatever. Now you'll make the request and your application is executing. And I'll type whatever Ravi or Kumar, whatever it is, depending on that it will give me the output. This is okay for us. Now supposingly I make changes now here. See the problems what you are facing. I'm just making a small change, yellow. So you make a small change like this. What are you going to do now? You have to deploy it again. So yeah, the same process will continue. What? See, I have to change screens like this. I have to go to web apps. In web apps, what I have to do? First I have to shut down the server. Shut down the server. Then I have to go and delete the old application in the server. After deleting the old application in the server, next what I have to do? Again deploy it. Export. Var. Next. So you'll go on doing like this. Then again you have to go to bin. Start your server. Once the server is started, again you have to open a new browser. Yes or no? You have to open a new browser and then make a new request. All the steps you are following. So let's relax this. http://localhost. Okay. Now you can make the request and you can even type. So changes are happening now. What I made it to yellow color, everything is working. So means any small changes you do like this yellow and all, what you have to do? You know the entire process. So we lose time. We are not losing time in coding. We are losing time in handling all these tools. So that's why what we'll do now, we'll integrate all these tools into a single screen. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. So if you do that, I mean your coding process will you'll be losing not much time in handling all these tools. So that's the whole idea here. So how will we do that? So write down the heading now. Integrating server with Eclipse. We'll see how to do it. Close all this. So first I'll shut down the server here. After shutting down the server, okay. Got the heading now? Integrating Eclipse with server now. Which server? Tomcat server. Be specific. Tomcat. Okay, fine. Next, see how I do it. So first see the options here. See the three buttons here. You got problems, Java doc, declaration. Here you got. See, I'll select some options. First you have to get an option here called as server. Let's see this. How do you get it? Window. Then you click on show view. Other. Scroll down here. This is a drop down you get. Scroll down and select server. Servers you select. These are the options. Then say OK. So as soon as you say OK, the screen will come here. This one more tab will be enabled. Once this tab is enabled, now what you do? Click on this link. Okay. So here you'll get some options. Go to you go to Apache now. In Apache, scroll down and select Tomcat 7, and then you click next. And here you select browse. In browse now, your Tomcat is installed in which place now? C drive Tomcat now. Select the top folder, top level folder. The top level folder which one? Computer, C drive, Apache Tomcat is there now. Just select the Tomcat and say OK. Then click finish. So once you do this, see this. Tomcat is getting integrated now. So this is one step. One more step you have to follow now. Okay, the next step would be right click on this, right click on that. Click properties, and here you click which one? You will have a tab there, switch location. Okay, again click on that and it will be changed to what? Servers or whatever it is. If you click that, it will be changed. Just say apply and OK. Okay, this is the second thing what you will do. Now third thing, one more is there. What you have to do is again right click, click on open. After clicking on open, scroll down, and here you will have one. See, you'll have three options for radio button. Select the second one, means use Tomcat installation. This one you select. Earlier which was the first one was there, I've enabled this one now. Yeah, so that's the only change you have to do. And see this, you have to save this. You have to say Control yes for this. You have to say Control yes for this. So once you do this, now your server has been integrated with what? Eclipse. And you can see this also here. Earlier this was not here. So it has got populated. Which one? Servers. So this has happened. So you have integrated Eclipse with server now. So after that, what you can do is, see, if you want to start the server, you can start it from here itself. You don't have to go now. Till now, where you are going for starting the server? You have to go to, you are opening a new window, C drive, Apache, Tomcat, bin, and there you are starting. Now, no need to that. Directly you can start your server from here only. Say, start. And start it here itself. You can see this is the server console here. One more tab got enabled. Console was not there earlier. As soon as I click start, console got enabled. And see, these are the two tabs you should know how to handle. Understood? One is server, other one is console. Console is the same thing what you are seeing till now. One new window is opening up now every time you start the server. That black color screen was coming up when you start the, which one? Startup.bat. The same it is displaying here. See, the server startup in 990 milliseconds. So you don't have to go outside to C drive and then start your server and all that. Are you clear with this? So now as soon as you see this, as soon as I start the server, one more thing you go and notice. In C drive, okay, if you go to Apache Tomcat, here you can see one folder gets created called as WT Web Apps. As soon as you start the server, it will be created. Earlier it was not there. When we saw raw, which one? See, when you saw the raw, I mean to say the first Tomcat when we installed, I'll show you, see this. In the servers, earlier our Tomcat was having how many folders? Only these many. But right now, our Tomcat is having how many folders? WT Web Apps has come extra. When will this come now? When you integrate it. When you integrate Eclipse with server, this will be coming over. So once that is done, okay, we'll close everything now. I just showed you. See, a server has been started now. Now, if you want to deploy now, all you'll be doing is what? See this. Select your project. Which one? 0 to simple app. Select it and just say run as, and then click on run server. That's it. Next, then say finish. It will ask you, the server may be restarted. Just say okay, server will get restarted. Fine, your application is also deployed now. Once it is done, see, you don't have to open the browser also, it will only open up automatically. And you don't have to type your complicated URLs. Directly you can type what now? HTML/login.html, only that much. Press enter, fine. And if you want, you can enter your name and password. You can work here only now. You are integrating everything what now? Server is getting started here. Shutting down you can do here only. Browser is integrated. So you are not wasting time now. You can concentrate more on coding. So this is the idea why we integrate Eclipse with server. Now supposingly I make changes. See, I'll make some changes here. What about if I make changes, you might ask. See this. I'll go to login.html. Okay. Always when you're making changes, now see to that. Okay, see this. I'm making changes to, I'll enable server here. Just notice, I'll go to that server tab. See, here there's an option. Now see, this is how it will be. Which one? In server tab, this will you can see this view. So what you do now, see, I'll make the changes. I'm changing which one now? The HTML. I'll change this to wheat. And I'll just say save. You can see something is changed. Started, synchronized. Did you observe that? So here what happens is, if you make any changes to your application, you don't have to redeploy. Automatically the changes are updated. What changes you do in your Eclipse workspace will be automatically updated into the server project. You don't have to redeploy only. You're done now, changes. Now go there, go to the same browser here. Just say refresh sudo. Press enter. Pressing enter is only refreshing here. You don't have to redeploy only. So these are the benefits. Understood? Supposing I make changes now. See, carefully observe. I'll be making changes in even servlet. Like this output I showed you. If it is correct, we are typing green. If it is wrong, we are typing red. Correct? So what I'll do, if it is correct, I'll make it as blue. Some changes I'm making. And if it is wrong, I'll make it to orange. So we are making some changes. So as soon as I make I'll save the file. Just I'm saying the file. Notice what happens. Okay, republish something, synchronized. Server only is restarting. I didn't restart. Understood? So if you make changes to your Java file, server will restart. If you make changes to your HTML file, server will not restart. But don't worry, whatever changes you are making here is automatically getting updated where? Into the server. You don't have to worry about this now. So now you can go again and click. See this, I'll press enter again. Select it and press enter. Okay, it's in wheat in color only. We have not changed that. But we have changed the output in what? Servlet. It should print blue and orange. See this, Ravi or whatever. It's orange. Understood? So then again, if I print something correct, it should print what? In blue color. So like this, any changes you do, okay, automatically it will be updated. You don't have to redeploy it. Understood? So this is how you integrate. Slowly you'll understand. There will be many tools you'll be integrating with Eclipse. You have seen only now integration of what? Browser and server. So you are not wasting time now, and in one tab you are controlling what? Means in one screen you are controlling your full development of web application. So that is why it is called as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. You are integrating all the development environment here. Clear? So this is one part about Eclipse. So integrate it and start coding like this. And one more thing, by chance, if this integration doesn't work, you don't have to bother. Okay, you can keep continuing coding. You're doing what? Export var. That will continue, but there you'll have some, you'll lose some time. That's not a problem. But don't stop coding only because what? Integration is not happening. And if you are having any integration problems, you can consult our faculties also. They'll be helping you to integrate it and give it to you if you have any problems like that. Done? But do not stop coding only because integration is not happening. You can continue doing with export var, as I have shown you in the previous class. Are you clear with this integration now? Done. So okay, now we'll be continuing with some more things here. So I'll be today now explaining about HTTP. Okay, now I'll be continuing with HTTP. Okay, so HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol. You have seen some protocols till now, yes or no? What are the different protocols you have seen? TCP, IP, all this you have seen. Clear? So TCP, IP and all that you have seen. So fine. So now we'll see what is HTTP. Done? Okay, see this. We explain what is HTTP protocol now. So what is basically HTTP? Basically HTTP is a communication protocol. HTTP is basically a communication protocol which is used to communicate between the client and the server. It is used for communicating between the client and the server. See, whenever two people want to communicate, okay, we generally use on protocol. Without protocols, you cannot communicate. Okay, protocol looks like a very complicated word, but if you break the terminology and understand the meaning of it, protocol means set of rules. Nothing apart from that, nothing else. Set of rules. See, if I want to communicate with you and you want to communicate with me, we are following the protocol called as English. So English is the protocol we are using to communicate. Similarly here also the server and client have to communicate. So they have to use on common protocol now, and that protocol is called as HTTP. Clear? See, all this is built in for us. We are just understanding what is HTTP protocol. You don't have to worry too much about all this. Just you have to means it becomes very from the developer's point of view, it is not very important because everything is ready made for us. But from the understanding point of view, it is important, like how the things are getting executed here and all that. That is why it becomes bit important. So we'll see what is HTTP now. So it's the communication protocol. See, the browser, you know that it makes a request. The browser is going to make a request to the client. Now which one now? Server. This will be your server. In the server, what you'll be having is, in the server generally you'll be having, this is a JEE server now. Clearly understand this flow. This is a very important flow actually. Like I'll be explaining you how the data is carried from the client to the server now. How the data will be carried from the client to the server now. So this is your JEE server, and this is your, I think the space will be less. Let's see how big we want it. Later on I'll draw it. Okay, so let me draw this first. Okay, fine. See, this is the diagram. Clearly understand this. Here, see, you know your application which you coded, the username and password. Let's see how it is working now. See, the user will make the first request. As soon as he makes the first request, the screen will be displayed to him. Which one? Enter your name and enter your password. The user is typing name and password and is clicking on the login button. So what will the browser do now? So I'm explaining HTTP. Focus that. Okay. As soon as you click on the login button, what does the browser do? The browser is a very powerful software. What it does is, it will collect these values, whatever you entered in the form. Okay, all those values it will collect, and depending on the form action attribute, it will generate the URL. Okay, and apart from that, it will collect all this information from the client machine. There will be a lot of information on the client machine. See, this is your client machine now. In your client machine, the browser is separate, but this is what? This is the browser. This is your Internet Explorer. Okay, so your client will be having what? It will be having an operating system, browser. Sorry, it will be having an IP address, operating system. Like that, so much of information will be collected by the browser from this machine. All this information will be added into one HTTP request body, we call it. Okay, we call it as a HTTP request body, and body gets generated like this. It's a huge body and it have three parts. There are three parts here. If you notice, the three parts of this are, so I'll be clearly writing you, this is the first part, this is the second part, and this is the third part. So the HTTP request body will have three parts. Similarly, the HTTP response will be having three parts. Means they are communicating the same protocol. So what is the first part here? First part is called as the URL. Second part is called as the header information. First part is called as the URL. Second part is called as header information. First one is called URL, second one is having header information, and the third one is called as body, HTTP request body and HTTP response body. See, both are identical. Okay, so what goes in the URL? Means when as soon as you press enter, all these things, means your destination and all that will be going in the URL, and along with that, this is the header information. There's a lot of information which will be going. Just I written few things here, and along with that, the body also will be going now. Okay, so this huge body, it cannot move. Means how can this huge body move your network now? This is where TCP/IP is coming into picture. Okay, so the TCP/IP will come into picture, and it will carry this huge body from the client to the server machine. This is how the data is, means this is how the huge body is going now. And inside this body only you are having what? Your NME and PWD values. Understood? You are having NME and PWD values now. They are coming in the HTTP request body. Okay, and see, you have written your code here, request.get parameter. You wrote your code where this is your servlet now. This is your login servlet. In your login servlet, you wrote on code. What is the code you wrote? Like, okay, this was public class login servlet. You wrote on code here. What is that code you wrote? String str nme is equal to request dot get parameter of what you told. Request dot get parameter of nme you told. So what do you think? You are getting the value from the client there. This is the code you are writing here. String S1 I'll write is equal to request dot get parameter of nme. String S2 is equal to request dot get parameter of PWD. This is what you are writing. Done. So you got the JWT. This is the solid container. See this. As soon as you say this NME and PWD, you are getting the value. The fact is you have to clearly understand, when you say request or get parameter, you are not getting the value from the user. That is a different computer, totally. Like imagine you are typing in www.gmail.com, okay, and you type www.gmail.com, what happens? You will get that screen, and in that screen you are entering your name and password. Do you think the computer in US can get, when they say request or get parameter, they will get a value from your computer? No, they cannot. So what happens? So that is what, your NME and PW, whatever you have been typing here, that has been put into the HTTP request body, and this content is carried via TCP/IP. Not only NME PWD, the entire HTTP request body will be carried to the server now using TCP/IP. IP will carry it to the correct destination. How is the destination identified? You will be typing your URL now, www.gmail.com or something. So like that it will reach the destination. Okay, and TCP will ensure it reaches it. Once it reaches, what does TCP ensure? Rearrange all these packets and give it as a single unit to the server now. This is how it will be happening now. Fine. And one more thing what you have to notice is, whatever the user is typing, whatever values the user is giving, or whatever information is coming from there, from the client machine to the server, is all bought as text, simple text. It is all bought as simple text. So all these values now, whatever you are seeing, okay, will be coming and it will be handed over to the server. The server, you know what it does, it hands over the control to the container. It will be handing over the control to the container. Once it is handed over to the container, there are more things now. This is your login servlet. Okay, URL, name mapping will happen, that is okay. An object of login servlet is created. But before that, you have to understand that there are two more objects which are getting created inside the container. There are two more objects. And the name of these objects are nothing but request object and response object. These two are created by default. You don't have to worry about this two. And they will be sent to your do-get method implicitly. HTTP servlet request REQ, HTTP servlet response RES is there now. So this REQ and RES are actually referring to whose object? You got the do-get method here. Inside your which one? Inside your class you are having the do-get method. So what is going to happen? As soon as the request comes, see this do-get is getting executed. When your do-get is getting executed, these two objects have been created implicitly by the container. So there are a lot of objects which go on getting created inside your what? Servlet container. Okay, this is, and these objects are nothing but what? Your HTTP servlet request object and HTTP servlet response object. So these two objects get created, and in this request object, whatever values have come in the request, whatever values, all these values will be put into what now? Request object. All the values, I am just writing two values here. Even your IP address of the client, everything, all this information will be put into this request object. Okay, and this request object will be sent as an argument to your do-get method. Do-get is having two parameters now. So these are the two arguments which are implicitly sent by the container to the do-get method. And you are calling the method now request.get parameter of NME, request.get parameter of PWD. So that is how you are receiving the values into your program. Understood? See, we know our servlet is a server-side Java program. We know that very clearly. But how are the values which are typed by the client entering into your program now? That is very crucial. Okay. So if you just write request.get, you will get the value. But this is the entire process. And who is supporting with all this now? Servlet technology. Servlet technology is supporting with what now? Collecting input values. So just if you say request.get parameter, you got the value. And then you can write your logic. Whatever logic you'll write now, what? If so and so, welcome, else not welcome. You'll write your logic now. Yes or no? If the values are correct, welcome, else you'll be telling not welcome. Simple. And once you write it, where it will write? Again, pw.println. It will be printing it to the socket. Now, it's printed now. It's a HTML body. Now that HTML body, again it will be converted into what now? It will be put inside on, this is HTML body. But that will be put inside on HTTP response body. One more HTTP response body will be created here. So there it will be having all the information. See the status, if your resource is found, executed, okay, and the response is successful, then the status code is called as 200. If the resource is not found, it is 404. You should be careful with these two things. 200 is success, 404 is not found. Means there are so many HTTP error codes. There are so many HTTP codes rather we say. Okay, 200 is okay, and 404 is resource not found, like that many other misunderstanding. So all this information will come now. 200 okay. Then what is the response type? You will say no response.setContent type. Same way, all that will be put into the header information, and again the body, everything will be transmitted from the server to the client again. Same story. So they are communicating in HTTP. So client knows how to generate the HTTP request. Server knows how to accept the HTTP request. Likewise, it knows how to give the HTTP response. Similarly, your client knows how to accept the HTTP response. And now the browser will start reading this. It will see, first it will see the status line. Is it okay? Yes, it is okay. If it is okay, now it will continue reading. What is the content type? Text/HTML. If it is text/HTML, now the browser will prepare itself to interpret and execute. The browser will prepare itself to interpret and execute. Understood? It will only prepare it. Okay. So then if it is HTML, it will interpret it and display it. Okay. And it will be interpreting the body. But by chance, some other format has come, like you have given a video file or image or something. Like example, you might have given it. Example I will tell. Video/image, what is that? JPEG has come. Sorry. Video/MPEG. Something has come. That time what will the client do, you know? Now see, some browsers can execute which on your video, but some browsers cannot. So that is when it will give the dialog box open with. Generally all browsers can execute your HTML code, but if they get anything else apart from which they cannot execute, that is when you get that dialog box, which one? Open with. So that is when what you do, you will choose the selected software and you will open that and you will start seeing those files now. It can be PDF file. See, today most of the browsers are supporting what? PDF, Word and all that. Earlier old browsers were not supporting. So that time they are giving the message called as open with. But today most of the browsers are supporting all these blocks. But this is the entire flow now. What you have to understand about the HTTP request and HTTP response. Clear? So now data is moving like this and coming like this. This is what is the HTTP, and this is moving via TCP/IP. That's what we say. HTTP is sitting on top of TCP/IP. HTTP sits on top of TCP/IP. But one thing what I want to finally make it clear to you is, when you say, see, you are seeing this box as NME, you are seeing this box as PWD. These are the name of your input boxes now. NME and PW are the name of your input box. So you are actually thinking what you know. As soon as you say request.get parameter, you are getting the value from the box. You will never get it from the box. Actually these two values are moving in the HTTP request body like this. And finally it will be handed over to the server. From the means they are coming as text. They are coming as text. So then it will be handed over to the control will be handed over to the server. From server it is handed over to the container. What will the container do, you know? It will read all these values, creates one request object, puts all these values into the request object. Now in the request object, the same value is of type what? String. You give there any value, you'll be always getting it as what? String. The data is bought as text, but in your Java program, when you get the value, it will be of type string. Be careful with this. You'll be getting it of type string. Clear? So now you can write your logic. But you should be clear that request.get parameter doesn't mean that you are getting the value from the user. From there, it will be coming to you like this. And see, today I have explained you this flow. Which flow? How does the data move from the client to the server? Okay. Now what is going to happen in the server? That is next part of the story. Understood? How the things are getting executed here? That is next part of the story, which I will be telling you in some other class. Understood? But this is all by default for you. Yes or no? What all is ready for you now? Browser is ready made. TCP/IP is ready made. HTTP is ready made. All these things are ready made. Finally, at the end of the day, as a developer, what are we doing? Just writing this simple Java file now. End of the day, we are just writing this simple Java file. Why do you have to worry about all this? But you should know this architecture, entire architecture of how the web applications are running. That's it. As a developer, we don't bother about all this, but you should have some information about how the things are getting executed here. Are you clear with this process now? Clear with what is HTTP? And one more, okay. Now one more thing. HTTP is called as a stateless protocol. There are two types of protocol. You are clear with this flow now? Okay. HTTP is called as now stateless. There are two types of protocol. See, there are two types of protocol. One is called as stateless protocol, and the other one would be stateful protocol. Now what do you mean by stateless protocol? Okay, example for stateless protocol is HTTP. HTTP is a stateless protocol, and its example for stateful protocol is FTP. This is the example. These are the examples. Clear? These are the examples. So what do you mean by stateless protocol? Stateless protocol means, see, when the client makes a request to the server gives back the response. No, both of them get disconnected. They don't know each other. So again the client makes the next request, the server will be treating it as what? New request, new client. Like that only it will be thinking. Understood? It is totally detached. As soon as the client makes the request and gives back the response, no, they are completely detached and they don't know each other. But unlike in a stateful protocol, what happens, you know, the client and the server will be knowing till the end of the session. Means till he logs in and the server will be knowing the client and the client will be knowing the server. They will be knowing each other. Till you log out, they will be knowing each other. Okay, so that is called as stateful protocol. An example for stateful protocol is FTP, file transfer protocol. An example. Okay, so these are the two extensively used protocols while communicating. Either you can use a stateless protocol or stateful protocol. But in web applications, we generally use stateless protocols. Now you might be having a question, why? The only reason is scalability. Because you know what happens in stateful protocols, when the client makes a request to the server, no, okay, and the server gives back the response, it should be free. Free for what? To give access to other clients. Because you can't predict the number of users. You can never predict the number of users. Today there are 10, now immediately in a moment you can get 100 users. Now if the server, if you in stateful protocol, you know what is the problem? There's a limitation. Your server can give access to only limited number of clients. Say 100 means it can give access to only 100 clients. Now one more client comes, it cannot give the process the request. So now the 101st client has to wait till one person has to log out. I'm giving an example to you. 100 means not 100 only exactly. I'm just giving an example. If the if the server which is using stateful protocol, FTP protocol, can give access to around 100 clients, finished. More than 100 users come, it cannot process only. So they have to wait, other users have to wait. So if you go for such kind of a server, what is the problem? Your application can never become scalable. So web applications, you can't predict the number of users. It is impossible. So that's the reason what happens, they go for stateless protocol only. So here the communication between the client and server is happening in the stateless protocol, and that is what is HTTP. So this much of information of HTTP you should know. More things we'll be seeing about HTTP clearly later. Yeah? Are you clear with this? So HTTP is used as a communication protocol. They are the points now, and it is a stateless protocol. So both know how to speak HTTP. Like how I am talking English, you also talk to me back in English. Same way your client talks in HTTP, server knows how to talk back in HTTP only. So this is the entire process. Clear this? Okay. So the same architecture we'll see here now in diagram. See this, what is HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It has three parts. The HTTP request and HTTP response have three parts. One is the URL or status line. The other would be header information, and the last part would be the body part. So this is the diagram, what I showed you just now. Yeah, so see this, three parts are there. The browser is going to make the request, this entire content, okay, it will be sent to the server, and the request will be handed over to the container. Two objects will be created here, which are request and response objects, and this entire data, it is coming as simple text. See, always data is carried as simple text, remember. So once this text is coming over, it's put all these values are put into the form of, in the request object as string. So and here you are telling in this servlet you will write the code. What you will write? Request start get parameter. It's actually you'll be getting it from the request object. Here two objects will be created. This process I'll be explaining you next. You don't worry. Okay. So here two objects will be created, request and response, and these are the two objects which will be handed over to your doGet method. doGet is a method now. It is having two parameters of type what? HTTP select request, HTTP select response. So there you'll be writing only simple line request dot get parameter will get the value, and then again you will do the output. Same thing will come back now. Okay, if the browser will see now, if it is okay, it will display it. If it is 404, it will also give what? 404 error. And you know when you will get the 404 error, client can make any request. If the resource is only not there, what will the server do? So it will give you 404 error. Are you getting clear with the errors now? Okay. So this is how you get 404. If it is available, it will give back the response by saying 200. So the browser sees if it is 200, then it goes on to process all this content now. Okay, and again it says if it is 200, it will see the content type text slash HTML. If it is text slash HTML, it will interpret and display. If it is some other type, what it will tell? Open with. This is how the things will happen. And it will display this to the user. Are you clear? Fine. Now see some notes. HTTP request body contains URL, the HTTP method. This I'll be explaining in a while now. Get and post. Okay. HTTP request body contains the URL, the HTTP method, get or post, and the request values. Now, HTTP response body contains what? Status code, content type, and the actual content to be displayed. HTTP response body contains HTML code which can be understood by any web browser. Sometimes the HTTP response body contains images, PDF, Word, Excel, document, anything like that, etc. Now, HTTP response body allows various content types. These types are called as what? MIME type. Multi-purpose internet mail extension. Some of the examples are given here. HTML/text and all that. Clear? So whatever you write as response.setContent type, that will be coming here as header information. And based on that, browser will decide whether to execute or give the dialog box of open with. Fine. Now next, what is HTTP? See, this is where it becomes important now. HTTP is the communication protocol used between what? Client and the server. Now, HTTP is a stateless protocol. Done. Now, HTTP is responsible to carry the hypertext from client to server and server to client. Now, HTTP sits on top of TCP/IP. Now, what is IP? IP is the protocol which ensures the data packets reach the correct destinations. TCP just controls the data transmission, that is TCP checks whether all the data packets started from the server have reached the client or not, and vice versa. Now when a request is being sent from a browser to the server, we can use one of the following HTTP request methods. So now we'll start. See, when the client is making a request to the server, it can generate, the HTTP can generate, there are 8 types of HTTP requests we say. Which are they? Get, post, head, put, trace, options, delete. But the most important are get and post. And we work with these two only. Understood? So let's see. I have already shown you get type of request. I have already shown you. So fact is, see in the first example, if you notice, carefully see now, this I'll change this colors to what? Green. Let us make some light colors. And this will be red, fine. Okay, it will only restart, you don't have to worry. Yeah, fine. See this now. See till now in the HTML file I've shown you method is equal to this attribute I had shown you in the last class. Method is equal to get. If you don't write this also, default will be get only. If you don't write this, the default request what will be generated is get. I wrote it explicitly. If you don't write it also, it will be get only. Okay, let's see the get effect first of all. So when the user clicks enter now, what type of a request is going to be generated? Get type of a request. So let's understand what a get type of request is. And here in the servlet now, so remember this, if you are saying in the method form action is equal to cluster, method is equal to get, in the servlet also you will be telling what? Do get only. That's mandatory now. Are you clear with this? Just increase the font size now. Differences. Done. Okay. So now see this. Here in your login.html, what are you telling? Method is equal to get. One second. Let me change some more things. Okay, just have changed the font colors and size for your visibility purpose, nothing else. So see this login.html. Okay, method is what now? Get. So it is get, and here also in the select what it should be? Do get, mandatory it is. Why and all we'll be seeing technically, but just follow. If it is get there, here it should be do get. First follow all this, get the output. Why they are done like that? Slowly you'll understand. Yeah. So then next, now I'll open the browser. See, this is the browser. I'll show you outside here somewhere. I'll open the new browser here. See this. You can do it there also, but it is not visible. That's why I'm opening up a new browser. See this. I'm typing this URL. Correct? Now see, I'll enter Ravi and whatever password I want, I'll give AMOGH Amog. See the URL now. Look at the URL. Automatically it changed, and you can see how the URL is. So this is for get request. The first URL was what? The first request is this. And the second request would be, as soon as you enter the name and password, it is generating this URL. Notice now? Fine. Carefully notice that. Okay. And it is executing. I'll change it to post. Notice. Method is equal to what I'll do now? Post I'll say. So if it is post here, compulsory you should do what you know? Do post. It is mandatory. Technically I'll be explaining you later. But just follow the rules. POST. So now you have made changes. Just wait till the server restarts. Save it. See, it's restarting. So once it is restarted, it's automatically deployed now. See, any changes you do, you don't have to worry. Start making the request now. So I'll open the Chrome browser now. Okay, in the Chrome browser. You can open any browser. Just I'm opening up another browser. See, this will be my first request. First wait. Now this is post request. The first request would be normal, no problem with this. But look, in the second request what will happen? When I press enter, what happens? You notice. See this carefully. It's Chrome now. I have not made the request only. Yeah? Okay. Fine, we'll make the request now. This is the first request in Chrome now. Fine. That is okay. I'll enter the name and password now. Ravi and Amog. Fine. It is not going in the URL. So that is the difference between get and post. Okay, get request carries the values in the URL, and post request carries the values in the body part. You know there are three parts now. Just now I explained what is HTTP request body, HTTP response body. There are three parts in the HTTP request body. Okay, and put the heading as difference between get and post now. We are studying all the different HTTP requests. Okay, only two are important. Put and which one? Get and post. Rest all you leave. The heading is difference between get and post. Okay. So get request is carrying the values in the URL. Post request does not carry the values in the URL. That's it. Yeah. It will be where it will be carrying. Post will also carry the values, but in the body part. You have the HTTP request body part now. This part. See this in the document. See in this document, it's very clearly telling you if the request is of type get, values are going where? In the URL. But if you change this to post, the same values will be going in this body part. Here it will be going. It will be going it as NME is equal to whatever, but it will be in the body now. PWD is equal to Amok. But fine, whatever values go, they will be going to the server, and in the server they will be put into the request object. You can still get the value. It's not a problem, and you are getting the output also now. Yes or no? For Ravi and Amok it is green color. No, welcome. You are seeing the same output now. Yeah. Yes, that is one thing now. So now next, when to use get, when to use post. This is the question next. So you might think get is not good only because it is always displaying the values. Correct? In the URL. See now, I'll show you something very interesting about get. See, if it is get request, I have to change again now. Yes or no? Any change? I'll make it to get again. See, I'm making the change. Get I made to post. From get I made it to post. Now again I'll make post to what? Get. Just to make you understand the difference. And do in login select what it should be? Do get now. Remember this rule. Okay. So once you make the changes, automatically server will restart. You don't have to worry. Understood? And whatever SOP you do, SOP, it will be printing here now. Earlier SOP was printing to server console. This is only a server console now. Fine. So now see what I'll do. Again I'll open a new browser. See this. Carefully notice. I'm doing which request? Get. So according to you, get is what? Insecure now. Because it's carrying all the data where? In the URL. Fine. So this is your get request. I'll copy the URL. Paste it. This is the first request. Fine. Now see this. Ravi and Amog. I'll enter. So it's saying welcome. That's not a problem. But look at the advantages. I can bookmark it. You know what is bookmarking? Bookmarking means what? It's an English word, man. Simple word it is. Whenever you read books, if you want to revisit the same page, what will you do? You'll keep on piece of paper or some mark there and go no, so that tomorrow when you come back you can visit the same page. Similarly, this URL can be bookmarked where you can add it to your favorites. That's the advantage of this here. I'm adding it to favorite. Okay. And I'll say add to favorites. Finished. That icon will come now. Clear? I can add it to favorites. Now, from next time onwards, I'll just open the browser. I don't have to type the URL only. See what I'm doing. This link, that favorite tab is there, no? Just click. It will say welcome. Understood? But unlike which one? Post. See what happens. You cannot bookmark. See what happens. I'll change it to what? Post. Both have advantages. You should know when to use each one. Simply don't blame it is going in the URL. Understood? Just see first the execution process, how they are getting executed. So it is post now. Done. So once it is post, again let it restart. Just wait till it restarts. Yes, it's restarted. Then make the request. It will do it automatically. Your integrated server with Eclipse now. Fine. So I'll open up one more. Which one? Let me open up this one. This new browser of Internet Explorer I'll open. See this. I'll make the first request. Login.html. Okay. Fine. Next, I'll enter Ravi and Amog. What will I get? First time welcome, but I'll try to bookmark this. But where are the values carried now? Body part. Okay. Now you cannot execute only. See, I'll add it to bookmark. Favorites. Add to favorites. Add favorite bar. This is the next one. Got it now? So see this. I'll open the. Next time I'll open. If I click on get bookmark, I'll get. No, this one. No, this one. Both it's taking 0 to that only. Fine, but you can't bookmark it. The reason is I'll show you. See this. The reason is, see, I'll open the browser. If you type this URL directly, what will happen now? What will be your URL when it is post? This will be your URL now. Second request. This will be your URL. I'll just type it and show you to see this. You cannot bookmark. I'm making the request. What will you get? Some error you will get. Not 404. Resource is found. Resource is found. Cluster is there. Now it went to your application. In application it went to WebINF. WebINF it is finding out what? URL. That is found. Mapping will happen. Login select is getting executed. And you can see here in the server. Okay. And the console, I think it's not printing anything. Fine. But it will not execute. You cannot bookmark it. You cannot do any bookmarking. So it's up to you whether you use get or post. Method get, I think I didn't change it, I think. Huh? And I did post, I should change it here now. I've changed it, yes. Yeah, fine, it will not execute but. Understood? So you cannot bookmark. End of the day what you understand is you cannot add it to your favorites or you cannot do the bookmarking thing. That you understand now. Yeah. So here, this is where the difference comes. Now when to use get and when to use post? This is the question. So if you want to carry secure data, use post. Like password and all you use post. And if you want to carry insecure data, that time you can go with get. The main advantage of get is you know what? Because whenever the user starts typing tomorrow, no, see this, he'll start typing. He'll start getting this drop down. And it will tempt him to visit your site again. Understood? So this is how you can use the get support. So this is a very very important interview question. Which one? Difference between get and post. Very important question. Some more differences are there. I only told you about how the values are carried. Get values are going in the URL, post values are going in the body part. That part I told you, okay, that is one difference. The other difference would be get can be bookmarked, post cannot be bookmarked. Then the third difference is what? Get is insecure, okay, and it should not be used for carrying sensitive data. Post is secure and it should be used for carrying secure data. Like that, some differences are there. Some more points are there, differences. You can note it down here. See, these are the different types of requests. Leave all the other, just focus on only what? Get and post. Following is the way to specify the HTTP method. Which method you want, get or post, will be specified like this. And if you don't specify method is equal to post, default value is what? Get. If you don't do it, default will be get. Okay, I'll show you the default value also in a while. So when a request is sent using get method, see this, the differences. The differences would be, data will be attached to the URL as a query string. There it will be going with the body part. We can send limited amount of data. There is restriction in the amount of data what you can send with the help of get method. But there is no limitation with the help of in the post method. Then get method is not secure. Same point I told you, this is secure. Get can be used for carrying, cannot be used for carrying sensitive data. That can be used for carrying sensitive and secure data. Now see this, get is used for bookmarking, that cannot be used for bookmarking. Lastly, get request remains in the browser history, post requests do not remain in the browser history. These are the points now, what you have to tell in the interview. Clear? And lastly, you can see this, following is the way to specify the HTTP method. Which method? This, whichever method you want. And see this, if I don't give any value here, default will be what, you know? Get. I'll show you that also. Now here you have to make compulsory what? Do get. Server will start. Now you can make a request. HTML/login.html. Clear? So fine. Now see, I have not given any value there. Method is equal to. But you can see, notice carefully. It is the URL. You can see default is get. So these are the differences between get and post. Done? Fine. Now one more program I'll show you. Here, I was talking about the header information. All this information you can get from where? Which is coming from the client place to your computer. So that program I already got it. Just do one thing. I'll import that project. 1 second. See, whatever values you are getting from the user now, all these values you can get in your program now. Understood? So for that you'll have to use the various methods present in HTTP servlet request. So today I'll start exploring the library and we'll start seeing all the different methods of what? HTTP servlet request. Means HTTP request is there now. We'll start seeing that particular methods. So there are various methods you can use. Whatever information is come from the client, all that information you can get now. So I'll be showing you that now in this program. So from now on, all about concepts will go on. Let the projector switch on, just a second. See, this is the first page would be the HTML file. This first page would be the HTML file, and here I am asking the user to enter the first name and last name. Nothing more is here. Okay, here our concept is what? I want to get the header values which has been sent from the client to the server. Fine. And next, here I have got done servlet. Nothing else is there. In the servlet, see, I am just calling some various methods. Response.set content, this one, okay. Now see, request.get parameter, first name. Request.get parameter, last name. You know this too now. But let's try calling all the other methods which are present in what? HTTP servlet request. See this, request.get character encoding, request.get content length, get content type, get context path. These are all the methods present in what, you know, HTTP servlet request. So you'll use them while programming, okay, but not all are important. But just I'm trying to show you whatever information is coming from the client into your server, all this information you can use. Okay, just I show you the output first, then we'll discuss about that. So what you do, right click, what you'll say now, you have to deploy, run on server. This is how you will be deploying from now on. Next, finish, restart. Okay, fine, it will be restarted. So fine, all your applications will be displayed here, and now you don't have to type your complicated URL. So what you will write now, first page is what? HTML/login.html, finished. So you know what is your, which one now? First screen is this is your HTML now. This is your first screen, just asking you to enter name and password. Fine. So I'll be entering the name and password, but just check this in the console. Right now nothing has been printed. Server has started. Nothing is printed here. As soon as I print this, Ravi and Kumar or something, we are doing SOP. In the Java program, what you are doing? I am not doing pw.println. I am doing what? System.out.println. So all this will be printed to the server console. Notice, carefully notice. Click here. See here. It's printing all the content. Are you clear now? How we are using the editor to code? Fine. It's printing now. So first name is Ravi, last name is Kumar. Value of character encoding. Okay, 1 second. Value of request.get character coding. The value of that, something it is printing. Get content length, get content type. These are the methods. And see here we are printing all those value, whatever you are getting. Content type is printing null, means because the user is sending the values from what? Client is sending, so there is no content type. Just it. And then context path means the user made the request of this one now. This is URL now. Means he is asking for which application? 03 request values app. That's the name of the application. Then his address, his locale, get local name, all the information from which country is making the request. All that information you can get. His IP address, the protocol he is using. Okay, all this information you can get here. His port number, everything you will get. So generally all this, what you do generally, his port number and all is all these values you can use it for your own programming. These values you'll understand how to use later. More information about that method if you want, what you do? Docs you refer. Best is refer to Java docs. HTTP request, Java you type, fine. HTTP request Java. Your servlet request. Open this link. Start finding all the various methods. Okay, what this method will do? Some I have used, not used all. Okay, you can open the Java docs and find out what they are doing. So HTTP servlet request, remember, it is a sub interface of servlet request. Servlet request is the main interface. HTTP servlet request is the sub interface of servlet request. So these are the various methods. Okay, so and again these are methods coming from, these are the methods present in HTTP servlet request, and these are the methods present in servlet request. So you know how to refer to the docs, refer it. So I have just called those methods and shown you the output. Nothing more I have done. Gradually we'll start understanding how to use this. This is library support. What this method does, what that method does, we are learning. Done. And these docs we have already given it to you in your software folder. We are giving you it's been given to you. You don't have to go to internet every time. So if you go to cluster softwares, in the API you'll be finding one JEE. Extract it. This is what you'll be having. Extract it. In this JEE you'll be finding docs API index.html you open, same will open. So Java X dot, which one you are using? Servlet.http. You know the package now? Yes, here. Then here you click HTTP servlet request. and you can see this clearly, the documents, same thing it is there. If you're not having internet, you can start referring to the docs. So this is simple information what I given today about this entire process, how the things are happening here. More things are there to be seen. So in next class we'll start seeing more things. You don't have to worry about all this. Everything is ready made for you. Clear? So even in this document I explained everything. Here what you have to understand is your duty is to write only your web application and put it into the server. That's it. Apart from that, nothing more you are doing. Are you clear with all this now? So fine. So this completes the today's class. I just talked about what? The header information. More than that, nothing else today. And how the data is getting carried from client to server, server to client. And what are the different types of requests you can generate. Get and post. Very important interview question. Which one difference between get and post? Done? So fine. See now carefully understand. So we have completed this. You do not have to worry about all this now. I'll be giving you an assignment. Okay, I'll be giving you an assignment. Next class I'll code and show you this. So you have to do this assignment for yourself now. See, when I make the first request, this is the first request. See how many files are needed and all, you calculate now. This is your HTML file. Okay, you do it. Now just I'm giving the assignment to you. The first one would be the HTML file because I want a static display. Enter name, then enter password, then enter email. Some values will collect now. And enter phone. My requirement is very simple. We are developing the next web application now. And the user is going to say submit. So once he submits this value, here what you have to do? See, if it is plain display, you'll go for HTML file. We know that. This will be login.html. But now the requirement is changing in the second request. What is that you have to do? I'll give you the requirement. See this now. You have to connect to database. And in the database will be having on table now. This table will be having something like customer or something. Anything you can take. A table will be named as customer. So here we'll be having name, first name, okay, name, password, email, and phone. This will be the table. So what you will be doing now? So as soon as the values come, what should your application do now? Select. I mean, you should write logic now. If at all you want to write logic now, obviously you'll need what? Not HTML. You need which one? Servlet. So this will definitely be a Java file. Understood? So you can give the name as customer servlet. Anything like that you can give. Fine. Now see, this is the output you have to do now. Collect request values. Second one, store in DB. Third one is give success or failure message. If stored, it should be success, else it should be failure. Failure message. Simple. So after dumping it, so finally what should happen? If it has been stored successfully, you should tell, hello Mr. Thank you for becoming a member. Else you should tell what? Better luck next time. Simple applications, you try. Simple. So we'll make it bigger. This is if it's successful, you can give this message. Else you can give what? Better luck next time. Something like that you can make the response. So this is where we start off developing our web application now. So you'll just for this entire thing, you'll have to use what? I'll give the hints now. For this entire application, okay, you just need 3 files. One would be what? HTML and other one would be Servlet, Java file. 2 files, only one HTML and one Java file. Other one would be XML file for mapping. Your Servlet can never execute without what? XML mapping file. So you need it. So 3 files required. Yes, files 3, but you need 2 technologies. Which 2 technology? Servlet technology, JDBC technology. Like that you have to understand. When you are developing a web application, you start needing more and more technologies. So how many technologies you use, that easy your development of the application becomes. Understood? This is how it will be done. So more technology, it will become more comfortable. Even learning is difficult, but once you learn it, for you development becomes easy. Otherwise you will have to write all the code from the scratch. So obviously you will have to add what now? 2 jar files. One is select API.jar, other one will be what? OJDBC. I've given you all the hints now. But your duty is to only get the output now. If you are unable to get, next class I'll be showing it to you. But I believe by now you should be having the ability to get this output. Because we have covered everything here. HTML, database, Java, JDBC, everything we have covered. Done? Okay, that's the assignment for you. Done.